Hello. So the book that I'd like to share with you is a book all about the weather. But in fact it has two themes, not just the weather, but also about infographics and how infographics are used. So the title of this book is Weather Infographics. And the author is written on the inside. It's Chris Oxlade. And there's not a separate illustrator, so Chris has also actually provided the illustrations for this book as well. And I would say this book was suitable for children aged 2.5 upwards, 2.5 till 7, even 8. The category of this book is actually a non-fiction book. So that means that everything inside this book is true. It's based on fact. For example, there's no talking animals or stories inside this book because it is a non-fiction book. Some of the key features in this book are that it actually has a contents. And one of the things that I might do if I was reading this book is focus on the contents. This is the topics that will be covered in the book in order. In this book, there's also an index, and an index are the topics that are covered in the book by alphabetical order. So you can see climates, clouds, and cyclones. They're all the C words. They're at the top, so they come at the beginning. And then if we look down here, weather forecasting, weather maps, winds, world record, they come at the end of the list, and it tells us the page numbers to look at the end. So some of the key features of this book is that it's all about infographics. It's about teaching us about the weather through infographics, and it has a contents and an index. Okay, now a lot of the key words in here all relate to the weather. So things about temperature, things about clouds, about hottest. So we've got some comparative language there. Hot, hotter, hottest. Rain. All the weather-related words. Snow are about the key words. And obviously there's two main themes in this book. One main theme is about the weather and how the weather is presented. But the second main theme is about how infographics, pictures, are used to give us information. So there's two key themes, not just about the weather, but also infographics. Now, thinking about if I was using this book with children, what additional resources I would use. Well, in most classrooms, certainly in my classroom, we have a date and weather board. So I would relate this book, if I was reading it with the children, to the date and weather board that we have in the classroom, and linking the weather outside, looking at the weather in the book, and recording it on our date and weather board. That could be a good example of how I would introduce an additional resource. And if I was doing an extension activity, what I might choose to do is look at one of these infographics. For example, I might look at the temperature gauge, and during a craft class or a craft activity in the nursery, I might make some temperature charts like this, some thermometers with the children in art, and maybe with a something that moves, that I can, a slider that I can slide them up and down, so we could check and set the temperature each day. That could be a follow-on or an extension activity that could link to this. So learning opportunities here are to learn about different types of weather, to be able to read infographics in order to understand the information that that's giving us, and a specific learning opportunity might be to learn how to read a thermometer. So another key thing that I want to tell you about this book, because it is non-fiction, and one one page talks about wind, another page about sun, another page about clouds, I might not necessarily read the whole book. I might just choose 2 or 3 things in the book to share with the children and come back at another time to the book and share some other things. Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to my review about the non-fiction book that I'm sharing with you.